Hello and welcome with me, Demi. Today I am making a very special video, a review of the Makeup Geek Rebrand. That's upside down. I received these items from them in PR. They're full matrix system palettes, neutrals, and the colors. You'll notice in the colors I have a few shades that are missing. It is Illuminati and I believe Starseeker. Both of these shades arrived broken. It actually took me a little bit of time to clean this palette out, and they are sending me out two new shades. As I was recording my swatches, my shade Legend shattered in my hand and got all over my floor. That's it right there. Keep that in mind when you're getting these foil shadows, that they are not as tightly packed, it seems, or at least this batch that I got wasn't as tightly packed as the original ones, which I've never had a problem with. But I got both of these palettes. They sent out their rebrand documentation, and we'll be going over that. I received a handful of brand new eyeshadows. Not eyeshadows. Hello. Lashes, including some from their original line and a few new ones. From their original line, I got Elegant, Graceful, and Fearless. And from their new line, they have these they call them 3D faux mink lashes. And I got Nicole, Isabella, and I also got the shade, not the shade, but the style Ava, which I'm wearing.
What the fuck is that?
Right now. And I'm also wearing the neutrals shades on my eyes to show you which shades those are from the neutrals matrix palette. I'm wearing this shade right here, and then I deepen the crease with this shade right beneath it, and I further deepen the crease with this shade, and then I deepened it even more with this ash gray shade. I don't know the names of the shades. I'm not trying to turn these over right now, but those are the ones that I used. And I also used on my lid, I used from the colors palette, I believe it's called Spotlight or In the Spotlight, which is this gold foil shade. And I used in my inner corner Shimma Shimma from the original formula, and we'll talk about that. And on my brow bone, I used the new Shimma Shimma, which is right here, and they are a different formula, but we'll get to that in a second. Eyeshadows.
Look at the top of his head.
The biggest thing that's different about these eyeshadows that wasn't in the original Makeup Geek eyeshadows is that these pans are squared, as you can see. Let me pull out my original Makeup Geek eyeshadows, and I'll just pull one out for you. Let's go with Legend. Oh, that's the name of the shade that's on my eyes. On my eyes is Legend, not In the Spotlight. Here is the original shade Legend from Makeup Geek, and here is the rebranded version of Legend. We'll talk a little bit more about formula in a minute, but the biggest difference that's obvious in just looking at them is that the new rebrand are square pans. It's my understanding that the new pans are square because Makeup Geek wanted to focus more on customization than on just, the aesthetics of having these round pans that everybody has. I think that's a really good idea. I think the focus on the consumer making their own palette from singles and being equipped to do that is a really positive thing in their efforts to reduce waste. So in doing that, it allows for more variety in the eyeshadows, but in practice, there's a little bit less variety overall. There are fewer shades than were in the original Makeup Geek before the rebrand, but there's a lot more focus on tone. Another thing that I noticed is that overall, even in the colors palette, the colors are more muted than you would see in a lot of other palettes, which, as I said, gives it a lot more wearability from day to day, but it also decreases, in my opinion, their utility overall. So it's good for day to day, but if you're doing more artistic, more editorial looks, stuff like that, I don't know that these shadows are going to be of that great of utility to you as opposed to other shadows of similar quality. One thing that I felt was imperative for me to do in reviewing the new Makeup Geek rebrand was to compare eyeshadows from the new formula to the old formula. I picked two deep brown colors that I use regularly in the type of makeup that I picked Dark Roast from the original Makeup Geek and Dark Roasted from the new Makeup Geek. The new shade Dark Roasted I found to be deeper than the old Dark Roast. I also found that a finger swatch was a little bit more consistent than the swatch from Dark Roast. It may just be that Dark Roasted is more pigmented than Dark Roast, and so it showed up a little better against my skin than the original Dark Roast. Second, I tested the foil shade Legend from the old Makeup Geek and Legend from the new Makeup Geek. I found the Legend shade to be identical in feel, texture, and appearance in a finger swatch and on the eyes. Third and finally, I compared Shimma Shimma from the old Makeup Geek and Shimma Shimma from the new Makeup Geek. Okay, girl, Shimma Shimma, other than maybe Creme Brulee, is probably one of the most popular shades from Makeup Geek, and I found the original Shimma Shimma to be markedly superior to this new Shimma Shimma. Just looking at the promotional materials, the shade Shimma Shimma is listed as one of the 28 matte shades in the neutral palette. However, when I went to the website, the new Shimma Shimma is listed as a shimmer shade. I'm actually wearing Shimma Shimma right now. I'm wearing it as a highlight underneath my brows. And in my estimation, this Shimma Shimma is not a matte shade. It is a shimmer shade that is an inferior version to the original shimmer shade that is Shimma Shimma. I understand that the changing of the formula of Shimma Shimma was likely deliberate on the part of Makeup Geek. I disagree that it was the best decision for this particular shade. So moving on from there, I want to talk about my individual thoughts about the rebrand as a whole. So we can stay organized, I'm splitting this up into 3 sections. 1, the good, 2, the bad, 3, the ugly. Because I like to start everything with positive reinforcement, usually. I'm going to start with the good. Number 1, this collection, this rebrand, it is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. From the website, to the packaging, to the new shades, to the lashes, everything is just really, really beautiful. The new packaging materials are beautiful and are so much of a step up from the old stuff. Like, seriously? It is so much better. The new foam ink lashes are of an excellent quality and, in my opinion, are fully comparable to Lily Lashes in a less glam, more wearable version, which I think is stupendous. This launch includes a ton of extremely wearable shades that you can pick one of these up. You can pick up a row and be right out the door. So with that said, let's move on to the bad. Speaking of the Neutrals palette, Neutrals is a very cool toned palette. I haven't tested every single shade, but from what I have tested, I can see that there aren't a ton of colors in that palette that are going to work on the very deep tone. I don't think I'm that deep. According to some makeup companies, I am very deep. But I think I'm more of a medium tone, and I noticed that I was having a little bit of trouble with some of the cool tones there just because they tended to look ashy and gray on my skin. So I imagine someone with even deeper skin tones with a warm undertone, like a golden undertone like me, or a red undertone, might have even more trouble making these show up and even more trouble making them not look ashy. So moving on from there is the stuff that I had even more issues with that I call the ugly. So as far as the single eyeshadows go, just talking about the single eyeshadows right now, as far as the single eyeshadows go, there is an issue with price. I'm going to be going more from my notes with this because I have a lot of numbers and figures written down that I want to make sure that I'm getting everything and I'm getting everything accurately rather than trying to like speed through to make this interesting. So the pans are smaller than the original pans, at 1.5 grams each, whereas the original grams were the round ones from the original Makeup Geek were 1.8 grams each. So with those two, there's a 16% decrease in the amount of product that you're getting. The shadows now are $5.49 per shadow if you buy them individually. The original eyeshadows, the 1.8 grams, were $6 per shade. We're talking about mattes. We're not talking about the shimmers. We'll get there. So you have 16% decrease in the volume and a 8.5% decrease in the price. On top of that, the formula isn't necessarily an improvement. For example, Legend, which is that gold shade, is the exact same as it was before. You're just getting less product. And then you have Shimma Shimma, which is like going from a 10 to a 7 or a 6, because that new Shimma Shimma ain't it. Not to me. I don't like it. I can't imagine somebody who's so used to putting that on their lid, or maybe even using it as a highlight if you're very fair. This new Shimma Shimma is not going to work for you in that capacity anymore. It's just not. So you're having a 16% decrease in the amount of Shimma Shimma that you're getting. The formula is different and inferior, and the price reduction is only 8.5%. So I would recommend not even buying Shimma Shimma if you're a fan of the original one. It's just not worth it. If you buy the entire Matrix palettes, however, these full guys, these ones are $125 a piece. It's $124.99, but I don't see a functional difference between $124.99 and $125. It's the exact same price as a 28 shade Natasha Denona palette. I would say, in my experience, Makeup Geek shadows are comparable to Natasha Denona. Natasha Denona is known for having expensive palettes, but I don't think that the quality of her eyeshadows put them so much above Makeup Geek that it's ridiculous that they're priced similarly. Natasha Denona is just expensive. She's been expensive. She's gonna stay expensive. Now, apparently Makeup Geek is expensive too when it comes to getting 28 shadow palettes. I think that's a fair price. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth $125 for that. Natasha Denona gets away with it because Natasha Denona sells eyeshadow palettes. You buy the vision, you buy the whole thing. It's so new for the brand, and it's very much going from buying single eyeshadow, $6 a shadow, buying the whole set for $125, buying two for $212, or however much the two, I think it's $212. So I don't know about that one. Maybe I would have launched with maybe smaller palettes. I see a lot of people like really like, whoa, with that 125. I don't know about that, but I think that maybe if they had started a little smaller and then worked up and said, I know you guys love these shadows. We're going to give them all to you. It's just $125 and you can get the whole range. Boom. I think people would have liked that a lot more. Finally, my final thing in the ugly. Oh, okay. I hope you guys love this video. I hope you guys get a lot from this video, because what I'm going to say may get me kicked off the Makeup Geek PR list, and you won't be getting no reviews like this from me because they're going to kick me off. But to me, this whole rebrand seems a little confused. Not confusing, but confused. Let me explain. If you look at the True Colors branding material that they sent out to everyone, I don't know if you can see the whole thing, but the stuff that I'm talking about is also available on the website. And it says right here on the front page, with the new focus, that Makeup Geek has a new focus on sustainable beauty and eco-friendly packaging. Makeup Geek introduces the Matrix system. I found the idea of wanting to do more eco-friendly cosmetics to be a very admirable goal to have, especially like rebranding your whole company to make it more eco-friendly. I think that that's wonderful. I think that's a great message, and I think it's a message that needs to be said more often by more brands. ColourPop. I don't see the follow through from Makeup Geek to what they say that they want to accomplish with their brand. Let me explain. I don't know what this packaging is made out of. We don't know if this is eco-friendly material. We don't know if the material that makes up this palette is eco-friendly. To me, it feels like plastic. The front seems like plastic. It feels like plastic. It smells like plastic. That's not eco-friendly, which is kind of a gripe, but if you say that the rebrand is about being eco-friendly, it should be eco-friendly, right? In addition, this is plastic. It's mounted on plastic. And we know plastic isn't eco-friendly. We know we use too much plastic, and it's having a detrimental effect on our environment. Not saying that that's Makeup Geek's fault, but it just seems like something that you wouldn't miss. You wouldn't say, our brand is eco-friendly, and then put your lashes on plastic. You wouldn't say our brand is eco-friendly and then don't tell anybody what your packaging is made out of, because that is where a lot of our waste comes from. There's a lot of waste in having eyeshadows that you don't use and you throw away and it ends up in a landfill, but there's also a ton of waste from the packaging that you use that's not eco-friendly. Plastic that you throw away when you throw away the lashes. Boxes that you're like, I don't need this, I'm gonna put these products in my other collection and throw those boxes away. You need to make sure everything is eco-friendly if you're trying to be eco-friendly. This is what I'm talking about when I say that I don't get it, that I'm confused about the rebrand. Because I'm confused. And this is the biggest thing for me that honestly fully frustrated me when I first saw this rebrand and the materials and what came out when I opened my package. And I was like, okay, something's missing here. And I read the documentation and everything. And I'm like, okay. Marlena has a very strong do no harm attitude, right? And that carries over into her brand, and it's probably influenced her want to do a more eco-friendly brand. And I saw on Twitter that she said that it was her mission to one day focus the earnings on efforts to raise awareness for and combat domestic violence, of which she is a survivor of. I expected that reducing domestic violence would be way more central to this rebrand, but it wasn't mentioned really at all. Makeup Geek as a brand is showing a willingness to reduce harm, which is wonderful, but as far as I know, Makeup Geek pretty much did that anyway. I need more of what makes the new Makeup Geek different from the old Makeup Geek, other than square eyeshadows and better packaging. If I were so lucky as to be advising Marlena and Makeup Geek on this new rebrand, I would have told them that instead of thinking in the future about making Makeup Geek help domestic abuse survivors, do it now. I would make the launch include models who are domestic abuse survivors from every age, from every gender, all sorts of backgrounds, all kinds of stories. I would use them to display and demonstrate how the matrix system is supposed to work and tell the stories that I think people need to hear at the same time. I think that would be so amazing. I honestly think, Marlena, Makeup Geek, if you're watching this, that you should consider doing that in future launches, and also cut me a check for the idea. You can use it. Just gotta pay me. Final thoughts, positive feelings, positive affirmations. I like what's most important from this rebrand is the quality of the products, and with very, very little exception, it's a very, very high quality of products. I think that this, with Makeup Geek, this relaunch can really inspire something great. I think it's great. I think the products are good, with some exceptions. I think the rebrand is good, with some exceptions. If I had to give it a grade, I would say B. No, I think it's a pretty solid B. I wouldn't say that it's a C. It's a B. It's a good job. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. This was really fun to film. Make sure that you keep an eye out for this. Oh, I have a coupon code with Makeup Geek right now. The code is DEMI, code DEMI. You will save 10% off of your order. I believe it's 10%. I would plan for 10%. It might be 15, but plan for 10. I do product reviews on my Instagram and on YouTube every so often. So because of that, when I have an affiliate code, I request that I not be made an affiliate. I will never make a cent from it because I don't think consumers should have to guess whether the person reviewing their products benefits from those products selling. I think it would be a good thing for Makeup Geek products to sell, but I have no personal stake in it. It's just my opinion. I make no money from Makeup Geek. I will never make any money from my affiliate code. That's something that just won't happen with me. If you get an affiliate code from me, I will not be making any money from it, period. Code DEMI, DEMI, get your money off. Use my code if you want to. I don't care either way. It's for you, not for me. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave a comment on what you thought about the rebrand. If you knew anything about it, what you think about Makeup Geek, how long you've been using the products. Leave that comment in the description. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you know every single time that I upload, because I don't upload regularly. I upload when I want. So make sure you hit that bell icon and then you'll know when I upload. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Mwah. And my cap is out. Jeez.